Hi everyone, my name is Asta and my pronouns are they, them, and this is my first YouTube video. So I've recently got myself into the Undertale fandom, and my favourite character as of now is Undyne. I really enjoyed this take on a seemingly one-dimensional villain who is actually a lot more fleshed out than you'd expect. However, like many other Undertale characters, with the exception of the Dreamer family, her backstory is left pretty ambiguous. We know she grew up in Waterfall with Gerson as a sort of father figure, and that she tried to fight Asgore as a kid, only to be met with flawless dodging skills and an offer to be trained by him, but not much more. One of Undyne's more prominent mysteries that I really haven't seen much discussion of is why she wears an eye patch, and I find this particularly intriguing, so today I'll be discussing some of the theories I've seen on this topic and my personal headcanons and opinions. This essay is inspired by SwankyBox's video on the same subject, but including more of my headcanons and theories I've seen floating down around the fandom. I do not claim to own Undertale, Undyne, or the idea for this video. First up is the theory that Undyne actually has a perfectly fine left eye, but wears an eye patch to look cool and possibly enhance her night vision. The main evidence supporting this is that Undyne's overworld sprite shows her left eye when she is turned to the side, and that both Alphys and the narrator pluralize when referring to Undyne's eyes. Some other possible evidence includes that Undyne's neutral root dialogue suggests she has not met a human before and that she doesn't have any visible LV, which could support that Undyne didn't lose her eye in combat. However, I personally disagree with this theory because I don't think it makes sense for Undyne's character, and the evidence does not completely debunk other theories. Undyne is the captain of the Royal Guard, which means she has a lot of responsibility, and her main motives involve protecting and helping monsterkind. She wants to be a hero to monsterkind, but as seen in grimmer situations like the genocide run or when you let Monster Kid fall off the bridge, this comes from a place of selflessness, and not a desire for people to think she's cool. So why would this character, who intends to do everything she can to help monsterkind, who uses a ranged weapon and patrols a dark area of the underground, willingly choose to impair her depth perception and peripheral vision like that for the sake of looking cool or intimidating? It doesn't add up. Not to mention that the only canonical evidence we have for this theory can all be chalked up to production errors. As for using the eye patch to enhance her night vision, as pirates used to do in real life, Undyne is native to Waterfall. Her design is very likely based off a piranha, a fish that can see well in the dark, and she has a slit pupil, meaning that it can become round to allow her to see in the dark, proving to me that the eye patch really wouldn't do much to enhance her night vision. This all leads me to believe that Undyne does have a good reason to cover her left eye. What reason, however, remains to be seen. Another theory links the mysterious left eyes of both Undyne and Sans. During their fights on the genocide route, both of their left eyes glow with magic. When coupled with both of their other strange magical characteristics, Undyne's determination and Sans' karmic retribution powers, it is easy to see how they could be linked, especially with the introduction of Winged Gaster, the previous royal scientist often theorized to be closely linked to Sans and Papyrus. Some interpretations of this idea show Gaster discovering and experimenting with determination, getting Undyne involved, and creating possible instability in her magic that would warrant her needing to suppress it by covering her left eye. With only the active and extensive use of her determination when she becomes Undyne the Undying, rendering her able to sufficiently control this excess magic. This experiment could have been continued or preceded by Gaster attempting something similar with Sans. Other branches of this theory speculate that Alphys injected Undyne with determination, that Undyne's left eye was given to Sans in order to create his bad time eye, and many other things. I personally find these theories quite intriguing, if they are well thought out, and have enjoyed plenty of comics and stories exploring them. The third theory, or collection of theories, speculates that Undyne lost or became blind in her left eye due to an injury sustained in combat or training. There are many variants of this theory, which I will detail below. A couple of these variants involve the 4 humans that left their items in or past Waterfall, most likely at their sites of death. These humans were the souls of integrity, perseverance, kindness, and justice. The integrity soul's tutu and ballet shoes can be found behind a waterfall and in a patch of grass, suggesting that they died while trying to run away or hide, and supporting the common theory that Undyne killed them. However, their weapon was a pair of ballet shoes, suggesting that their main attacks, if any, involved kicking at the opponent's lower body and vulnerable areas. Therefore, it would not make very much sense that they were responsible for whatever injury could have cost Undyne her eye. Although I have read one story in which Undyne and the Integrity Soul both fall off the bridge in Waterfall while fighting, and Undyne's eye is stabbed out by a stalagmite at the bottom of the chasm. The Perseverance Soul's items are found in Gerson's shop, suggesting that they were killed in or near the area, most likely by Gerson or another waterfall monster. Additionally, their weapon is a notebook, again unlikely to do much damage to Undyne's eye if she ever did encounter them. Therefore, the two humans most likely to be responsible are the souls of Kindness and Justice, armed with a frying pan and a gun, respectively. It is unlikely that the Kindness Soul would have done much damage to Undyne, as they would have been kind by nature and therefore would not have grown strong or malicious from gaining LV. Additionally, the Kindness Soul died in Hotland, the climate of which is rather unfriendly to Undyne and would have made it very difficult for her to fight them and win, as someone would have had to. However, I have read one story in which the Kindness Soul kills some monsters and seriously injures Undyne in self-defense in the panic throes of death, an uncommon but interesting and well-done take on this part of Undyne's backstory. As you can clearly see, most of the evidence I have discussed points to the Justice Soul having shot Undyne's eye out with their gun, as they had the most suitable weapon to do this type of damage and were the most likely to have had the motivation to kill or hurt monsters. I personally subscribe to this theory, and it has a place in my headcanons about the 6 humans' lives and deaths. However, it is worth noting that there are questions this theory does not fully answer. For example, if the Justice Soul died fighting Undyne, then how are their items found at the empty tea resort? I personally believe that Bratty and Caddy found them in the waterfall garbage dump, where the Justice Soul dropped them during the fight, or that perhaps Undyne lost her fight against the Justice Soul, and they were defeated by someone else in Hotland. It is also worth considering that the timeline of Undertale is spread very thin. The Justice Soul could have fallen and died long before Undyne was even born, which would debunk this theory completely. It is quite possible, and even supported by Undertale canon, that Undyne has never seen a real human in her life, let alone fought one. I personally don't believe this is the case, but that's a half-page long ramble for another time. However, there are many more plausible explanations for how Undyne could have lost her eye in ways that do not involve humans. I will list some of them below. 1. Asgore or Papyrus accidentally hit Undyne's eye during a spar, most likely Asgore. I have seen quite a few stories, all by the same author, that explore this idea and use it to develop both Undyne and Asgore's characters and backstories. They are all very angsty and very, very good. Go read them and everything else on Omoni's AO3 profile. Undyne was assigned or took it upon herself to apprehend a monster criminal, who then attacked her and at some point caught her off guard, as in one story where the mysterious Snowden kidnapper, Jerry's brother, succeeded in stabbing Undyne with a knife after ending their fight, or official encounter, as seen in-game. One related theory is explored in a story where Undyne saw Alphyne being bullied as a child, attempted to defend her, and accidentally stabbed her own eye out after losing control of her magic. 3. Undyne lost her eye in a childhood accident, such as tripping or falling and landing on something sharp that stabbed it out. 4. A disease or issue with Undyne's magic necessitated that her eye be removed or caused her to become blind in that eye. 5. Undyne uses her left eye to channel strong magic, much like Sans, or see things that normal eyes don't, but this makes it sensitive to light or other visual stimuli, so she usually keeps it covered. Or 6. Undyne was just born without a working left eye. As you can see, there are pretty much endless possibilities when it comes to expanding on this part of Undyne's character. As stated previously, I have my own headcanons and theories I subscribe to, but everyone's theories can still be plausible, well done, and valid. So hopefully this essay has provided you all with some interesting information and plenty of food for thought on this topic. Now, if anyone is still interested at the 10-minute mark, here is that half-page long rant I promised you a minute ago about Undyne's reaction to her fight against the Justice Soul, whether or not it happened. Or perhaps that's not the best way to explain it, but here, have the rant. Undyne's neutral root dialogue states that Alphys told me humans were determined. I see now what she meant by that, which suggests that Undyne has never met a real human before. However, I believe that by saying this, Undyne was trying to distance herself from her encounter with the Yellow Soul and convince herself that all humans were bad, or that humans were all bad. I personally headcanon that the Yellow Soul was the Green Soul's sibling, and they killed monsters to avenge the Green Soul's death, driving Undyne to kill them in order to protect the rest of monsterkind. It is likely that she saw her own impulsivity, fierce love for others, and hunger for justice in the Yellow Soul, and found the act of killing them quite traumatic. She may have encountered a vengeful, hate-filled human, but she also encountered a grieving one, who had acted nice and accepting towards monsters before realizing what the monsters had done to their sibling. She couldn't help but think that even though humans were cruel, maybe they were people too, people who didn't deserve to die. But Undyne had to hate humans. They had done plenty of terrible things to her and her people. It was her job to take their souls and fight against them on the surface. There was no room for doubts, and certainly no room for guilt. So when confronted with the overwhelming evidence that humans were bad, Asgore's decree against them, the story of Azrael and Chara, the monsters suffering and losing hope due to the situation humans had put them in, heck, the sins of the humans she'd met against her and other monsters, Undyne started to warp the image of them in her head into something that she could feasibly fight. She began to see all of humankind as one big anime villain, and compares Frisk to anime and things she's heard about humans instead of the actual humans she's met before and doesn't want to think about. Of course, this is quite unhealthy and leads her to be very prejudiced against humans, but after being shown by Frisk that humans can be good and that she doesn't have to hate them, she can improve and stop seeing humans as an enemy. Hopefully that has given you all some extra food for thought and was anything resembling interesting at all. I hope honestly, I do not know how to end this video, so thank you to anyone who is still watching.